What's up, everybody? Superworks fan here for another weekly update. So, just going to go straight into the news again this week because we do have a good amount of debuts here from the Shanghai Motor Show, which is going on here this week. But the first couple of stories here are just normal Tesla stories. And the big news here from the title of the video this week is Elon Musk tweeted out, and this is how Tesla does stuff. Elon Musk will just randomly tweet and drop some information willy-nilly, and it turns out to be a big deal. Like Tesla stock prices have gone up and whatnot since this tweet. And so the first tweet is that he said that a Tesla semi-truck is coming in September. And now this could just be like they're showing it and, that won't actually be in production for a while. But, he's just said that it's truly next level stuff that his team has come up with here for the Tesla Semi. And so that's very impressive. He also said in the same string of tweets here that they're going to be coming out with a new new kind of pickup truck within 18 to 24 months. So that's the other truck that Tesla's working on currently, that's just going to kind of hopefully reinvent the pickup truck segment here in some way. Then the other news that was dropped is that the Model 3 is going to have its final reveal in July. So, we saw the car last year, but it still wasn't totally production ready. Now I guess they'll be showing us a totally production ready one. We've seen them spied running around here in the past month or so, and they look mostly the same, just slight little tweaks to the bumpers and things like that. But anyway, so the final reveal in July. They said they're going to start building the first cars in July. I don't know if that's going to be pushed back now because of this final reveal or what. We know there's full-scale production. They're still hoping to start in September for those. So cool to see that. And then the last little bit of Tesla news here this week is they made some changes for what I'm kind of guessing is the 2018 model year. Tesla really doesn't go by model years, but that's kind of what this is. It's a bunch of changes here that they just made on their configurator overnight, basically. And so we know that they dropped the 60 kilowatt hour battery version, a couple months ago. So now the Model S75 is the new base model one. And so they've actually dropped the price on the 75s here for this new version, which doesn't have any other changes. They just kind of have changed around some of the standard equipment and deleted some options, and then, like I said, changed the pricing. So now you can get a 75. It used to be for the Model S75 version, it was $74,500. Now it's $69,500. So I mean, that's a $5,000 drop, and now the 75D, which is the all-wheel drive version, is now $74,500. And then the 90D, they also dropped the price on that to $85,500. And so another thing here is the standard equipment you now get is the glass roof is now standard, as well as the automatic rear lift gate. So you get both of those things on all Model S's now. But in the 75 version, you can't even option the smart air suspension anymore or the 72 amp onboard charger. So now you have to go up to the 90D if you want those options, and then the high amp charger is included in the 100D. But if you already own a 60 or 70 kilowatt hour version of the Model S and you want to upgrade to the 75 kilowatt capacity, it only costs an extra $2,000 now to jump up from 60 to 75 versus $9,000 for the cost of the upgrade before, and only $500 if you're going from the 70 to the 75. And otherwise, other updates here for Tesla is the Model X now gets a new sonic carbon wheel option, which is a $3,000 upgrade. Then you can now also upgrade the range of the Model X's that are the smaller battery packs up to the larger ones for that more affordable price as well. But on to the new reveals here at the Shanghai Motor Show here this week. The first is the 2018 Mercedes S-Class is getting a bunch of changes and been slightly renamed as well. So as you can see here, they all get facelift for the front and the back with new headlights and taillights and front and rear bumpers. Makes it look a little bit more like the E-Class, some updated lighting treatments there. And then you also get some new wheel designs like you always do. There's 3 new upholstery offerings as well, and the updated infotainment system now has a single piece of glass for its display instead of the segmented thing that you had before. It also has the updated safety suite, which includes active distance assistant Distronic, which can adjust speeds ahead of corners, and it also slows down, speeds up automatically for those corners, and so it's very intelligent with the way that it navigates. There's a new base model S-Class called the S450, and that has the 3-liter twin or bi-turbo V6 that does 362 horsepower, 369 pound-feet of torque. Basically, this is the motor out of the C43 AMG. And so that is the base motor here for this S450. They just don't put the AMG badge on it. And then there's the S560 now is the new mid-level option. That gives you the new 4-liter V8 engine with 463 horsepower and 516 pound-feet of torque. That's basically the C63 bi-turbo V8 engine here that is just the mid-level engine, since we're talking about the top-of-the-line S-Class model here. The V8s also get cylinder deactivation to help with better fuel economy, and the configurations are a hot V style for the turbos in between the cylinder banks there. Now for the AMG, the actual AMG versions of the S-Class, they're also making some changes to those as well. So they get new engines, new transmissions, and they all have all-wheel drive systems now as standard. So they've changed their brakes as well to make them a little bit more responsive, and there's new wheel designs, new exhaust system, adaptive sports seats, and there's also new performance apps that are built into the infotainment, and they also get some new suspension tweaks as well, and the S65 is also getting the Mercedes Magic Body Control as well. So for that S65 model, it's gonna that is always the V12 model, and that continues on with the 6-liter V12 as always, 621 horsepower, same as before, 738 pound-feet of torque for that one. The S63 though doesn't have the 5.5-liter V8 anymore. That is just basically the C63S motor, so that does 603 horsepower and 664 pound-feet of torque from that pumped-up 4-liter bi-turbo V8 engine. And then they all run the 9-speed automatic transmission, much like all the other AMG models. So it's just kind of bringing it up to par with the rest of the Mercedes stuff. And they all have a revised version of Mercedes 4MATIC all-wheel drive. And then the Maybach version also gets a couple of tweaks, including now the logos on the front grille as well, so you really know for sure it's a Maybach, because that's very important for Maybach owners, or Maybach, however you're supposed to say it. I interchange the two. Also, now the Maybach version gets the new 4-liter bi-turbo V8 as well, and that's the S560 model. That's the engine you get there in the Maybach. And so, yeah, very nice changes overall. Still just a beautiful vehicle, and still one of the best in the large sedan class. So very cool to see that. The other big news, though, from Mercedes this past week is the Concept A sedan that they just debuted, which is this really compact-looking vehicle. And it's it's based on the new Mercedes small car architecture. And this architecture is what's going to underpin the A class, the B class, neither of which we get here in the States, but also the CLA and the GLA. And so you can really look at this, especially since this one is a sedan concept, you can really look at this as like a preview of the next gen CLA. The CLA is due for a totally new model here pretty soon, and so I think that's what we're looking at here. But also, it's interesting to note, they said this small car architecture is also going to underpin a small coupe, an actual coupe, I think, not a 4-door or SUV that's called a coupe. I think an actual coupe, and also they say it's going to underpin a convertible model, which will be very interesting to see, you know, what they end up doing with that. But as far as the dimensions of this thing, it's actually 2.7 inches shorter than a CLA is. A CLA is already pretty compact, so really tiny, but it's actually 3.66 inches wider than a CLA and about an inch lower. So, really just makes it look a little more athletic and punchy, and so very cool to see that, and hopefully all those great looks transition over to production cars in the relatively near future. Mercedes just says they're done with the creases, they want more elegant flowing lines, and I think this design direction looks great. BMW unveiled a new vehicle here at the Shanghai Motor Show, and it is the M4 CS. So the CS is basically the model between the M4 with the competition package and the hardcore M4 GTS. So it's midway, and it's actually going to be coming to the United States as well. So it's not just a European-only thing or anything like that. We're getting it here in the States, and they say that it actually provides a template for what they're going to be doing for models going forward, where there's going to be a base M car, there's going to be an M car with a competition package always, there's going to be an MCS, and then there's going to be the range-topping MGTS. So I guess they're going to be doing this with all the M models, supposedly. We'll have to wait and see, but that's kind of what they're saying here right now. But so it's a 10 horsepower bump over the competition package M4, so total horsepower is 460 now, and it's only going to be available with the dual clutch transmission, no manual here for the CS. 0 to 60 takes 3.9 seconds, and the suspension is basically the same as the one on the competition package, although it does come standard Z300 with BMW's adaptive M suspension, although it's not quite as harsh as in the GTS. It also gets the M dynamic mode and active M differential. And so otherwise, it's on the inside is a lot of, I guess, more of an exercise of lightweightness, and so it's more bare bones. The hood and roof are made from carbon fiber reinforced plastic, and the doors are made from lightweight compacted natural fibers. The door handles are thrown out, and instead they just have the pull straps there, to make it more sporty as well. This is definitely more hardcore. It's got thin, lightweight seats that are trimmed in Alcantara and leather, and although they still do have a back seat here in the CS, one thing the GTS got rid of. So it's just a midway point between the two, and so not quite as extreme as the GTS, a little more comfortable, hopefully, but still, a little more edge than a normal M4. So very cool to see that. A couple stories from GM this past week at the Shanghai Motor Show. They unveiled a couple things. The first is the Chevy FNR-X concept. Now, this is a sports crossover concept, and the FNR stands for Find New Roads, which is Chevy's tagline currently, and that's just X for the crossover version. And this is a very interesting vehicle. I think what this is a cleverly disguised way of gauging reaction for a refresh for the Camaro. If you look at the front end, you look at the back end, it looks like, obviously this is a concept car and it's a little more extreme than they would ever produce, but if you tone this down a couple of notches and make it a production-friendly version, I think what we're looking at here in the front and in the back is what really is probably a refresh for the Camaro. We know that the Camaro sales haven't been doing well, and that it seems like they may be rushing a refresh to kind of help revive sales of the Camaro a little bit. And so I think that's kind of what this is. That's my personal guess. I'm not, but anyway, it's an interesting concept nonetheless. It's a sportier crossover, and I mean, that is a very popular thing these days, so I wouldn't put it past Chevy to do something like this. But I think that, especially with the struggle of the Camaro currently, I think that they need to figure that out first before adding a crossover. But who knows? Maybe a crossover could be what they really need. So we don't really have much more about it. Now. The concept is some kind of electrical hybrid thing. They didn't even really detail it all, and it's probably not even functional. It's just, for this concept. But you can imagine they would just put a normal range of engines in that thing, most likely. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments below about what you think about the looks of that. I think it's just kind of taking the current Camaro design to a more aggressive direction than it already even is, and could be good, but I kind of wish they would go more retro with the Camaro and kind of just go back to what made the Gen 5 so great. But anyway, yeah, cool to see that. Other GM news, Buick revealed the Velite S, which is basically a Buick version of the Chevy Volt, and it really looks pretty similar, aside from different changes to the grills and trim and whatnot. So it's, all electric for 72 miles, or it has a total range with a range extender, which is just a gasoline engine, of 477 total miles from, I guess, refill to refill and charge to charge. So, yeah, but cool to see that. Now, that most likely will be produced, I think, at least for the China market. That's what all this stuff is for, particularly. But anyway, cool to see that. And then the last bit of GM news here for this week is that Chevy was spy testing the Corvette ZR1 yet again, this time on the Nurburgring, and this time without any bulky camouflage. So it's really just the normal tape camouflage now is all we really see. So we can really get a good look of how that front end and stuff is going to look. Looks awesome for sure, and very, very awesome with a huge rear wing. And we are basically confirming this is a ZR1. There's been other parts leaks and order guide leaks coming out here, saying stuff about blue brake calipers, which we know are a ZR1 hallmark, and also a gas guzzler tax for another vehicle outside of the 8-speed Corvette, which I think is the only one currently to get the gas guzzler tax. So interesting to see that stuff. Now, when this is coming, I don't know. The New York Auto Show has come and gone with no reveals. The next big American Auto Show is LA, and they could reveal it somewhere else, or just online or something like that. But I really don't know. I think this may actually just be saved for the Detroit Auto Show in January and be rolled out as a 2019 model year vehicle instead. That seems to make the most sense right now. But anyway, cool to see that. Another vehicle that was revealed at the Shanghai Motor Show, which we are also getting here in the States, is the refreshed 2018 Lexus NX crossover, which is their compact crossover, and basically they changed it so that it looks like a mini RX. It's a little less pointy and extreme and a little more toned down, but still very much a Lexus, which is very bold styling for all of them. And but yeah, the power and performance is the same. They didn't change anything mechanically, although they're now called different things. It used to be called the NX200T, and even though it still has that 2-liter turbo motor, it's now called the NX300 for whatever reason. The hybrid version is called the NX300H. So they just changed that, I guess, just to kind of differentiate, hey, this is a refresh model. Other things, they say they've made a bunch of refinements, though. It's quieter and more refined now, they're saying. They also gave it some new headlights, and on the outside there, it does look very nice. It's similar to the LC in a lot of ways there with the way the headlights look, and taillights look more revised as well. And then on the interior, they didn't change too much, but one nice improvement is the infotainment screen has gone from 7 inches to 10.3 inches now, and all Lexus models apparently are now coming standard with Lexus Safety System Plus. So that includes the emergency braking, radar cruise control, lane departure warnings, and automatic high beams, all as standard on every single Lexus now. So very large commitment there to safety by Lexus, and so cool to see that. Other things, they say there's also a new adaptive variable suspension system that's from the LC it's modified obviously here for the NX, but that's going to be on these new ones as well. They say that should improve ride and handling. There's no official pricing or release date yet, but expect to see that here probably by summer or fall. Another Shanghai debut was Audi revealed the new E-Tron Sportback concept. It seems like every other week Audi's coming out with a new E-Tron concept that's some kind of crossover. So this one, again, all electric here, and a previous production model that they're planning on putting on sale in 2019. Audi's going to first launch a normal electric SUV that has a driving range of 311 miles in 2018, and then the Sportback one comes in 2019. So, that's kind of how they're planning on rolling that out. And so cool to see that. They say they wanted it to look very electric the first time you look at it, and they want it to be very bold. It has 3 different electric motors, 1 on the front axle and 2 on the back, 429 horsepower total, although there's a boost mode that boosts that temporarily to 496 horsepower. 0 to 62 takes 4.5 seconds, and it does 311 miles, like I said, of range. So yeah, this is going to be, they're all going to be on this big global platform, and so they're all going to have basically the same range and, similar performance, and just have all these different body styles just interchanged like Legos on top of this same platform. So interesting to see that. Other Volkswagen Group electric car news, they're going full steam ahead here. So Volkswagen revealed the ID Crozz with 2 Z's concept. So this is a crossover, of course, but it's, the IDs here are all these all-electric vehicles that are autonomous but also able to be driven. This one has 2 electric motors totaling 302 horsepower, all-wheel drive, and 0 to 62 is less than 6 seconds, and again offers a 311 mile range. I think that's going to be their target for all their Volkswagen Group electric vehicles, is let's at least give it 311 miles of range. Now that's on the European driving cycle, which I think is a lot more lenient than ours is here in the States, but good nonetheless. They say that it also has very good weight distribution, so it has GTI-like handling for this crossover, even though this thing is supposed to be like a Tesla Model X competitor. Still, they say it's going to handle very well, supposedly. Now, it's on the same architecture as the ID Buzz concept that we saw at Detroit, which is a very cool retro micro bus kind of looking thing. And so this is 12 inches short, or 12.4 inches shorter, 3.3 inches narrower, and 13.9 inches lower. And the wheelbase is 20 inches shorter as well. So it's smaller for sure than that micro bus concept, but still cool to see this. Now this, like I said, it's going to have the autonomous system that they call ID Pilot. It delivers level 3 autonomy, which includes 4 laser scanners that pop up from the roof to detect cars, bikes, and pedestrians. It also uses radar and ultrasonic sensors along with those, so that it can drive itself pretty well in most situations. And it can be driven manually, but like all the other ID models, it has this very cool LED lighting that changes depending on what driving mode you're in. So if you're driving it manually, the car's roof and grille LEDs glow in a light blue color, but then they switch to purple whenever it's in autonomous mode. So I don't know if anything like that will actually ever make it to production, but more colors and lighting I think is very cool, and that is the way of the future. I think futuristic cars should have colorful and cool looking lighting features, and so hopefully that does get retained here for production versions. So cool to see that. Yet another electric vehicle that was unveiled here at the Shanghai Motor Show was the MG E-Motion Coupe. Now MG currently I think in Europe only makes a very cheap, inexpensive little sedan and crossover, and that is it. Nothing fancy, nothing high tech. So this thing's supposedly all electric, autonomous, all this kind of stuff, and it looks very beautiful. I don't know what they're planning on doing with it, or if they just wanted to show it off for the fun of it. But that front end to me looks exactly like a Mazda. This almost, if you put a Mazda badge on this thing and told me it was the Mazda like RX-9 or something, I would totally believe you. But anyway, it is an MG in fact, and it also a lot of Autoblog mentioned it actually looks like the Buick Vista concept as well, which was shown here at Detroit. And so yeah, it's cool, but again, not sure where they're going with this at MG, but a beautiful concept nonetheless. Another vehicle that is actually coming to production, and this is really good news, is it looks like Hyundai is working on a new Veloster. Now for a while, I mean, the Veloster's been on sale now for I think 5 years at least, and its future was really uncertain because there hadn't been any news or rumors or anything about it, and now finally we're seeing a new Veloster spied, and it still retains the quirky 3-door kind of design, we don't know if this is a refresh or if it's an all-new model. It has been out long enough, this could be an all-new model, and that's really what it should be. It might just be a refresh. Either way, it's good to see that they're still giving some attention to the Veloster here, because I think it does have potential, and it's a very cool idea. Not sure when we'll see this, if it's just a refresh and nothing, it looks like it's fairly far along here, so maybe we'll see it by the LA Auto Show in November. That would make the most sense to me, or of course Detroit soon after that in January. But cool to see that. Other Hyundai stuff that was spied was the 2019 Hyundai Santa Fe, which looks a little bit sleeker and angrier there in the front, has a similar grille to the Sonata, and so I'm guessing that'll also be debuted probably Detroit or something next year. So cool to see them working on that. Another vehicle that was spied was the new Honda Accord sedan here that was spied testing. We have two faraway shots of it without any of the heavy camouflage. It really helps you to get a good look for what it's going to look like, and honestly to me looks a lot like the Honda Insight or the Honda Clarity, with its, like the Clarity has the hydrogen thing going for it. I think this kind of has those similar headlights, and looks a little bit more like a Civic in some ways as well, and that current Honda styling trends. But I think that's actually going to look really sharp, especially with, again, I'm not a huge fan of the new Camry. I think this actually looks like it's going to be a little bit more conservative, but still very futuristic looking. So cool to see that. And in other Honda news, following up on that, just last week the Civic Type R was officially revealed here. So at the New York Auto Show, they confirmed it's going to have the 306 horsepower, 2-liter engine. They're guessing it's going to be probably 35 grand or so, and again, they still haven't nailed down anything like that, even though these are supposed to be going on sale like next month. But what we do know is that the Type R, the 2017 models, they're putting them out as 2017s, even though the 2017 model year here is almost over with. But they're going to be putting them out as 2017s in touring only trim. And a lot of people were nervous that said, well, what if I just want a base model? I don't want all the huge touchscreen and all the other fancy features. And there sounds like there's good news. Honda Pro Jason, who's on top of all the Honda news and stuff, he actually tweeted out, I guess he found some kind of dealer thing that shows that for 2018 there's going to be a Type R touring model and then just a standard regular Type R model. So I'm guessing that's the stripped out or basic kind of version that should be a little bit more affordable as well for those that don't want to have the first few models and can wait it out for another 6 months or so for the 2018s, and then those ones will be a little bit more affordable. So if the pricing for the new Type R comes out for the 2017s and you're shocked by it being high, take comfort in knowing that that's because it's a fully loaded touring model and there will be a more affordable version on the way. So cool to see that, and thanks to Honda Pro Jason for breaking that story. And a little bit of interesting news here. I think I have like 1 or 2 people that are always commenting and wondering when the next Nissan Frontier is coming, or if there's any news about a Nissan Frontier. And it's amazing. The Nissan Frontier has been around since basically 2000. 2005 without any changes, really. I mean, obviously light little updates here and there, but mostly it's still a truck from 2005. And so thankfully, here at the New York Auto Show, I guess there was a discussion, like a roundtable type thing, and someone questioned them about, because apparently outside of the United States here, there's the Navara, the Nissan Navara, which is a mid-sized truck, which is nice, and so people were like, why don't you just make that the new Frontier, or give us something? The Frontier is just so old. And interestingly enough, the senior vice president at Nissan North America said, the Frontier has a future. Trucks are in our DNA. We've been doing them for a long time. He said, we'll do something better than the Navara for the North American market here. He says the Navara is a bit more of a lifestyle vehicle, like a Honda Ridgeline, he says. He's like, we like real trucks, is what he added there. So, a little bit of a jab at Honda, but still kind of just good to hear that they're actually going to be doing some kind of new Frontier. That's great news for, the mid-sized truck segment is really hot right now. And I think they said even the Frontier, even though it's so outdated, it saw a jump of like 47% increase in sales this past year just because of, how hot this segment is. So really, they're just hurting themselves by not coming out the new Frontier. So hopefully that comes out soon, but it sounds like they are working on something. And so cool to have that little bit of news. And then the last story this week is that Ford has confirmed that the Shelby GT350 will continue to live on for the 2018 model year. There was some doubt for a while, and so now it's been confirmed. 2018 Shelby GT350 is happening, is a thing. It is not getting the updated styling from all the other 2018 Mustangs. It's going to have the same styling as the 2015 to 2017s, so they said there are no changes from 2017 to 2018 for the Shelbys, except for the addition of 3 new colors. Orange Fury, Kona Blue, which both are available on all 2018 Mustang models, and then Leadfoot Gray, which is exclusive to the Shelby and is more of a matte gray color, and darker than the Avalanche Gray that was exclusive to the GT350s, but lighter than Magnetic Gray. So that's what that is. Now, they didn't specify which colors are dropped. We know that for 2018, for the normal Mustangs, Grabber Blue is going away. So we're assuming that Grabber Blue is also going to be not an option for 2018 Shelbys, but they didn't say what colors are dropped, only which ones are added. So I'll add that information once I know for sure, but I'm pretty sure if you want to grab a blue Shelby, you should go out and get a 2017 now while you can. But yeah, so that's it for all the news this week, guys. So thank you guys very much for watching. I'll see you next week. Take care.